Hi class, welcome to Environmental Science subject. Since we cannot do our synchronous classes today, I opted to do a recorded video instead. So grab your snacks and listen carefully as we go through our first topic for midterms, the atmosphere and air pollution. At the end of the lecture, you are expected to Number 1, describe the atmosphere. Number 2, explain how the air become polluted. Number 3, discuss the effect of pollution on earth and living things. Now let us first know the layers and description of the atmosphere. So as we all know, the atmosphere is a thin layer of gases that envelopes the earth. It's like a blanket of air that surrounds the earth. And it consists of gases in motion, sometimes falling, and also sometimes rising. So many complex chemical reactions take place in the atmosphere. It absorbs energy from the sun, recycles water, of course other chemicals, and works with electrical magnetic forces so that it can also moderate our planet. So, hindi nyo ba natanong, paano nga ba nagsistay yung ating atmosphere dun sa kanyang pwesto? So, how is the atmosphere held to the Earth's surface? So, the atmosphere po has these gas molecules na nag-held dun sa Earth's surface natin with the help of gravity, and at the same time it's also pushed upward by the so-called thermal energy. Also, the atmosphere is made up of several vertical layers. But before we go through the layers, let's just first discuss the components or what gases comprise the atmosphere. We have here nitrogen, 78%. Siya yung pinaka malaking gas na or pinaka mas maraming gas na sa atmosphere natin. We also have oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, methane, and krypton. Sometimes water is also present, usually when our air is wet. So again, the atmosphere is made up of several vertical layers. Beginning from the bottom here, it is called the troposphere, the first layer that is near to the surface of the earth. This is most familiar to us because we spend most of our lives in it. So ito yung lagi nating nakakasama, yung sinasabi nating hangin, wind, ganyan. So above the troposphere, we have this stratosphere which we visit occasionally when we travel by jet plane. And then we also have several layers that we're not quite or we are less familiar. So let's try to discuss it in details. Okay, let's start with the troposphere. So when we talk about troposphere, it is the term that comes from a Greek word that means to turn. So remember that. And again, tulad ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina, it is the first layer of the atmosphere starting from the bottom. So, bottom upwards po ang direction natin. This is the part where we live, the part of the atmosphere where we are actually exposed to, and it extends from the ground up to 10 to 20 kilometers, as you can see here. So within the troposphere also, the temperature decreases with elevation. So, habang tumataas po yung altitude, kapag tumataas kayo, nag-decrease naman po yung temperature. Always remember that. So, from the average of about 17 degrees Celsius at the surface to negative 60 degrees Celsius at 12 kilometers elevation. Also, this is known as the thinnest layer, but it's known to have the highest gaseous composition kasi it's composed of 75% of the Earth's atmosphere kasi mostly ang laman nito is nitrogen and oxygen po. Kaya dito din tayo nakatira. At the same time, dito rin nabubuhay yung ibang living organisms. So all the weather activities like the clouds, the precipitation, fog, hail, cyclone, wind, name it, they're all seen here. Okay? Next layer, we have the stratosphere. So the second layer from the surface of the Earth. So this layer remains between the troposphere, yung first layer, at yung third layer, which is the mesosphere. So the stratosphere has a significant role because this is the region that contains the so-called ozone layer. So, tinatawag nating stratospheric ozone, which protects us, protects everyone against harmful UV radiation. Yung mga UVB, UVA, that it can actually causes aging and long-term damages like skin cancer, eye problems, and wrinkles. So, pinoprotektahan po yun ang stratosphere natin. This layer also has these fluctuations in the temperature than our troposphere. That means that the temperature increases po with an increase in altitude. Iba to sa kanina, baliktad sa troposphere natin. Kapag tumataas yung altitude, bumababa naman yung temperature. Dito naman sa stratosphere, kapag tumataas yung altitude, tumataas din po yung ating temperature. Okay. So, due to such stable atmospheric conditions, kasi mas stable dito sa layer na to, it's really suitable for most of jet-driven aircraft. So, yung mga airplanes natin, kaya may makikita kayo ditong airplane, may ibang weather balloon din dito. Nandito sila kasi walang masyadong turbulence na nangyayari or turbulence na nangyayari. Also, meron din ditong mga ilan-ilan na stratospheric lightning, kaya di ba makikita ninyo sa mga movies kapag may airplane, present din pa minsan-minsan yung mga lightning. Makikita niyo sa ibang movies. So, very rare or no weather activities are seen here. Kaya, mas stable siya. Okay, so it's very important again dahil it contains the ozone, which protects us from harmful doses of ultraviolet radiation. Next layer. The third layer, we have here the mesosphere, which is the coldest region of the Earth atmosphere. And it has this temperature na negative 85 degrees Celsius. So, few weather conditions like a particular type of cloud that is known as polar mesospheric noctilucent clouds formed here. So, ito po yun. Ito yung tinatawag natin na night shining clouds that sometimes form in North and South Pole. So, kung makikita nila to, ibig sabihin, nag-form tong ating noctilucent clouds sa mesosphere.